Hey, what is going on, Fan Clan? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Danny Phantom. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday. We are only 3 short days away from the Milwaukee Pokemon Regional event. It is going to be so much fun. I'm really excited to be vending this weekend. We had a blast in Secaucus a few weeks ago, but Milwaukee is going to be even better. It is going to be much bigger. There's going to be spectators that are allowed. Definitely come check it out. I hope to see you guys there, but since it's our backyard, we get to bring pretty much as much stuff along as we want. So we're going to have a ton of stuff down there. Just really been working tirelessly to try and make sure we get things priced, make sure we get plans in place, make sure to get things ready. There's a lot that goes in to vending a regional event to make sure that everything goes off without a hitch. And with only 3 days of actual event happening, it's a lot of work to put into only 3 days of an event, but I'm super excited. And like I said, I hope to see you guys out there. It's going to be an absolute blast. I try and do themes when it comes to like my weekly videos. When I record videos on a weekly basis, I want to make sure that I stick to like a constant theme. So like this week, for this week of videos, I want to stick to like more prices falling or crashing in the Pokemon market, just possible areas of like, hey, you know, what's going on with this? Why is it like this? Why are prices this way for this set or this product or whatever the case may be? And I want to talk to you guys about Hidden Fates, because Hidden Fates is like my favorite set, one of my favorite sets of all time. It was the introduction of Shinies. It was the introduction of those full art Shinies. It really showed us some of those OG Pokemon that we all love so much, and Hidden Fates just kind of came out of nowhere. It was kind of produced at a time when Pokemon was really starting to go downhill. Not a lot of people were playing it as frequently. Events were starting to be less attended than what they were the previous year, and all of a sudden Hidden Fates came out, and the collectability side of it, the competitive side of it, really started skyrocketing. Hidden Fates was really the first set where people were scalping. People were going out, they were buying product outside, or buying out product at Walmart, at Target, and then going around and selling them online for a huge profit, because everybody wanted this set, because it was a tribute back to a lot of the OGs, but in shiny form, which made a lot of people excited. But Hidden Fates, kind of as it continued to climb up in price, that's when we really saw Pokemon kind of step in and say, hey, hold the phone for a second. We are not going to let you go out of your way and scalp all this product. We're just going to print more of it, because obviously the demand is there and people need to be able to get this product at least at somewhat reasonable of a price point. And it was reprinted multiple times. So we had the release of Hidden Fates, and then the tins, the Charizard, Raichu, and Gyarados tins were reprinted multiple times, to the point in 2020 where it was reprinted twice. It was reprinted in May and then again in September, where we had all these tins kind of showing up, and then all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, we got word that the Hidden Fates Elite Trainer boxes were going to get reprinted again in a massive wave. And this was right around the time where Champion's Path was released, and really people were struggling finding that. And then all of a sudden, boom, we had this announcement that Hidden Fates Elite Trainer boxes were getting reprinted at a massive scale at the beginning of 2021. And that really halted the rise of what we saw when it came to Hidden Fates pricing. Those ETBs were selling for close to $300 at one point in time, and it brought it all the way down where a lot of places you could find it for under $100 unless you found it out in the wild at MSRP pricing. It was absolutely crazy. We even had Hidden Fates Elite Trainer boxes go up on the Pokemon Center website like 2 weeks ago for a short period of time before they ended up getting bought out. And that just goes to show you that while this set has been out for a while now, and you would think that this is somewhat protected of a set from reprints because of how many sets there have been printed since then, Pokemon is kind of fair game when it comes to anything. They'll do anything to make sure that the product gets into the hands of the people who want it at least a reasonable price. Now, I don't think they're going to go back and reprint sets like Base or any of those WotC sets, those Wizards of the Coast sets, but this goes to show you that if there is enough demand out there, Pokemon's going to be like, hey, hold on a second, we need to get more of this out there, because there's a lot of people who still want this. There's still the demand for it, and it's really impacted Hidden Fates to a substantial point, and that's what we're going to look at today. So I've got my handy dandy graph that I put together for you, and we're looking at the past year of data. A lot of times I like to look at the past month or 3 months, but I wanted to show you a whole year of data so you can see where Hidden Fates has started and where it has gone, because kind of a year ago, right, was when we were starting to kind of come out of that boom. We had Shining Fates come out, and that really messed up the market because people were really struggling to find product, and then all of a sudden Pokemon reprinted that like 8 million times, and then prices started to kind of come down a little bit when people realized, hey, you know, Pokemon is a game of supply. They're going to put the supply out there, so it's really difficult to kind of hit the demand because Pokemon's going to make sure demand gets met with how much they print the product. So if we look at Hidden Fates in the Elite Trainer box, we're going to start out with that. If we look to about a year ago, it was actually kind of at the low end because that's kind of where we're coming off of the release of that reprint set. So if we go back into June of 2021, you're looking at about 6 months of after the Hidden Fates Elite Trainer boxes started showing up in in big box stores, and a lot of times those were sent out in waves of just small amounts of products, where every week or 2 weeks Walmart would put out 10 or maybe 20 for the span of 3-4 months, where you could find them at a lot of these big box retailers for a long time. So it takes a long time for these sets to kind of appreciate in value because they have been printed so much, so frequently. So like the Hidden Fates Elite Trainer box over the past year, if we look, it started out at $148.37 in June of 2021, and then kind of skyrocketed back up where people were like, well, hold on, we might not be able to find these anymore. And then it turned out more just kept showing up and more just kept showing up as these slow release schedules from these marketing companies really started to play an impact, where they were putting out 10 to 20 at a time in some of their big box stores. So it did hit 171.22 at the end of August of 2021, but then you can see dropped right back down to about that 150 mark, and it's been kind of hovering right around that 150, 160 mark now for the past several months, which isn't bad considering the fact that you can find a Hidden Fates booster pack, which we'll look at in just a second here, for about $16 a piece. That really goes to show you, hey, this sealed product shouldn't be too much more than $160 because it's 10 booster packs, right? If we look at the tin, like I said, this has been reprinted several times. I believe this was reprinted 4 times in total. So we had these Hidden Fates tins, and then you also had the collection boxes that came out exclusive to Walmart, where you could find the Charizard, Raichu, and Gyarados. Those promo cards, those tins were printed to the moon, obviously to oblivion. It was absolutely crazy. So about a year ago, which is kind of after the time where they reprinted it for the 4th time, we had, what, September of 2020, where it was reprinted for the last time, and then we hit 2021 and it was just ETBs. But these have been hovering around the same area for quite some time now. We had 54.42 for the Charizard tin, and I only chose the Charizard tin. The Gyarados and Raichu tins are very, very close to this price point. They're selling for a few dollars less just because they're not Charizard, but the price points are pretty much exactly the same. 54.42 is where it was in June of last year. Then it went up a little bit. This is one of the few products that has been steadily climbing in price. It's sitting at $66.60 right now. It hit $68.37 about a few weeks ago, which is actually its 1-year high of where it's been. If we look at the Hidden Fates booster pack, this is actually really interesting because I know it's got a lot of ups and downs here, but as you can see, it's really on an upwards trajectory, and that's why I like Hidden Fates a lot for the long term, because I do think that it's going to continue to climb, especially if you look at some of the other specialty sets that are out there, like Shining Legends, like Dragon Majesty. The problem is that those sets were not printed nearly as much as what we saw with Hidden Fates, and since so much of this product was produced at a time when there was a lot of people who were entering the hobby who might have been looking at making a quick buck, a lot of this product was held onto and not opened. So as it slowly gets opened, obviously the supply goes down more and more. But if we look at the Hidden Fates booster pack, about a year ago it was sitting at $13.72, and it's done nothing but climb since then. At one point it was at $17.75 in March of 2022. It went down a little bit, where it's sitting at $16.25 right now, but still up quite a bit from the $13.75 or $13.72 that it was at about a year ago. I only pulled one card from Hidden Fates, the actual set, not the shiny set, not the shiny subset from Hidden Fates, and that's the Moltres and Zapdos and Articuno, because it was the only card that was priced above $10. Everything else from the main series set is actually relatively cheap, and even the shiny subset, a lot of these cards have taken huge hits as more and more of this product gets open, and that's what I wanted to really focus on when it came to this video here. But if we look at the Rainbow Rare Moltres and Zapdos and Articuno, it was at $9.76 in September of 2021. You can see it went up a little bit, and it's kind of just stayed right around $11, $12. It hit $14.82 at one point in the beginning of the year, and then kind of crashed back down to about its $12 mark here, and that's where it's kind of stayed for the last few months now. But not a whole lot of movement over the past year. And that's one of the few cards that hasn't seen a lot of movement. Some of these other cards have been hit really hard. Like if we look at the Charizard Gx here, for example, it was at $548.91 a year ago, and now it's dropped all the way down to $399.79. So it's lost about $150 over the past year. The sad part is that's actually up from where its low was. Its 1-year low, it actually hit kind of in December of 2021, and this is really right when we had all of those massive reprints happen, where we had Chilling Rain product that was dumped, Fusion Strike product that was dumped, Battle Styles product that was dumped, Vivid Voltage, Darkness Ablaze. There was all this additional product that kind of came out, and really the entire Pokemon market got oversaturated, and it couldn't handle all the additional cards and sealed product that kind of hit the market, and it really saw prices take a dive, not just in sealed product, but in singles as well. And we saw this Charizard drop all the way down to $340, $384. So it's made a little bit of that back up, but still sitting at $399.79. And if you think about it, there's a lot of people who own a ton of Hidden Fates product, whether it be sealed product or singles. I know people who have multiple master sets of Hidden Fates just because they enjoy the way that it looks so much. If we look at the Umbreon, this one actually started gaining some ground back and really has halted now to a real slow, steady climb. If we look about a year ago, it was sitting at 178.51. That was in June of 2021, and you can see it crashed hard. In September of 2021, it went all the way down to 71.54 before it started climbing back up a little bit, and now it's sitting at 86.48. So it made it all the way back up to about $95 a few weeks ago, and then started dropping a little bit more. You can see this little dip at the end here, but for the most part, real slow, methodical climb back up to where it once was. I don't know if we'll get to 178.51 for quite some time, but it's very interesting to see how hard some of these cards have dropped as they slowly start to try and gain some of that luster back. The third most expensive card in the set has actually become Cynthia. That wasn't the case for quite some time. Sylveon was there. As you can see, it hit 85.54 at one point in June of 2021 before it crashed. It hit its one-year low also in December of 2021, where it went all the way down to 56.81. It's gained quite a bit of that back, and it's actually sitting right in between its one-year high and one-year low, where it's at $70.89. It's still a little bit behind where it was a couple weeks ago, but you can see it's really following the same pattern as what we see with a lot of these other ones, just real slow, steady, methodical climb back up. If we look at the Sylveon GX, 91.09 is where it was about a year ago, and that dropped really hard. Also fell all the way down to $62.53, also hitting its one-year low right around December of 2021, much like these other cards that we looked at. It's currently sitting at $70.95, so it's gained again a little bit of that back, but it's a real slow climb back up. If we look at the Espeon GX, $81.83 is where it was a year ago in June, dropped all the way down to $47.23, so it's almost lost 50% of its value over the past year, which is absolutely crazy. It started to gain a little bit of it back, but you can see once it hit about $55, it dropped again. Now it's sitting at $50.56, and it's really been consistent there over the past few months now. If we look at the Mewtwo Gx, another card that's really just going in the wrong direction, it was at $68.94 at one point in June of 2021, then dropped all the way down to $38.61 in September, October of 2021 before it kind of shot back up, and now it's going in the wrong direction again, sitting at $44.90 currently. If we look at the Leafeon Gx, again, this is a card that's been really consistent over the past several months, but well off of its one-year high of $63.31, which it hit in June of 2021, dropped all the way down to $33.56 in December of 2021. You can see it gained a little bit back, and then it's just kind of lost it again, where it's sitting at $35.62 right now. If we look at the Darkrai GX, $34.52 is where it was at one point. That was in June of 2021. It dropped all the way down to $21.75 in December of 2021. Now it's starting to gain a little bit of it back, but still got a long ways to go. $26.38 is where it's currently sitting. If we look at the Greninja Gx, this one's been up and down quite a bit, much more than what we've seen a lot of these other ones. I think Lucario was kind of in the same boat. This was one of the cards where we thought, okay, well, maybe this card is getting bought out. We didn't really know what was going on with it at several points in time, but $31.64 was its high point, which had hit in June of 2021. Also in December of 2021, it hit its one-year low point of $23.90, currently sitting at $26.45, but it's had a lot of dramatic ups and downs as far as percentages go, which is a little bit different than what we saw with some of these other cards, which have been really slow movers. If we look at the Scissor GX, $41.33 was its high point in June of 2021. This was a really interesting one that it did get that high, because Scissor obviously not going to be as popular as some of these other cards, especially some of these gold cards that we're going to take a look at in a second here, but $41.33 before it dropped down in September of 21 to $21.79. Now it's sitting at $23.75, which is basically where it's been over the last 6 months now. It really hasn't moved much at all. These secret rares are a lot of fun to look at just because they're super interesting. You would think that these with a little bit harder pull rates would be more popular, but $36.78 for this Tapu Lele GX, also a very playable card in expanded decks and things like that. $36.78 dropped all the way down to $22.66, which it hit actually only a couple months ago. It's gained basically nothing back. It's sitting at $23.22, so it's been consistently going down. We might not not even have seen the bottom of this card yet. It might go under $20 over the next few months. If we look at the Lucario Gx, this one's had a little bit more severe of the ups and downs. 2405 was its high point, which it hit actually in March of 2022. Much different than what we've seen from the rest of these cards. This one actually hit its 1 year high recently, but its 1 year low was hit 1856 in November of 2021, roughly, kind of around the same time as a lot of these other ones, before kind of climbing back up, hit 2405 and then dropped back down to that 2162. So about a 10%, 15% difference off of its high point over the past year. If we look at the Tapu Fini Gx, 3422, it hit in June of 2021. It's been doing nothing but going down. This is one of those cards that's sitting at a 1 year low right now. Very, very interesting, but it's consistently been going in the downward trajectory, which is very interesting considering the fact that it's one of those secret rare gold cards that people were really excited about when Hidden Fates came out. Glacion I wanted to highlight, even though it wasn't the next one on the list. It was the next one that I wanted to add because this was the end of the full arts that I wanted to look at. But Glacion is one of those eeveeloutions that just cannot, for some reason, gain any steam, any gusto. It's 2735 high. It hit in June of 2021. And it's been doing nothing but crashing since then. $14.22 for an eeveeloution. It hit in October of 2021. Gained a little bit of a back, but now it's backwards, going back on a downward trend. It's sitting at $17.11 for one of those eeveeloutions. Very, very interesting to look at. And then I wanted to look at 3 baby shinies, just because these are the 3 baby shinies that were selling for quite a bit, anywhere between $25 and $35. At one time, the Charmeleon was the most expensive in the set, sitting at about $35 a couple of years ago, and now it's just lost so much. We're going to start with the Eevee here. It was at $24.82. It actually hit its 1 year high in September of 2021 before falling all the way down to $18.03, which it also hit in December of 2021, much like many of these other cards. Gained a little bit of it back and then lost a little bit more. Now it's kind of in the upward trend, sitting at $20.93. Not terrible for a baby shiny, but considering where it once was, it has fallen quite a bit. If we look at the Charmander, $22.14 is where it was in June of 2021. Kind of stayed around that area for a few months before crashing really hard. It actually hit its 1 year low a couple of months ago. It went all the way down to $12.24, and it's sitting at $12.88 right now. But you can see it's lost about $10 for over the past year, which is, I mean, that's significant. If we look at the Charmeleon, $23.81. It hit in June of 2021. Going way down in the downward trajectory. It's sitting at $12.69 a couple weeks ago, and now it's sitting at $12.81. Very interesting to see how far some of these have fallen. Now, I do think Hidden Fates is still going to be a really good set long term. I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy owning this set, opening this set for quite some time, but you're not going to see, this is the great thing about what Pokemon did, and this, you can say whatever you want. Pokemon produces too much product, or they don't make things easy for collectors, or whatever the case may be, but Pokemon has done a great job of really slowing the curve down when it comes to some of these products, especially when it comes to Hidden Fates, because Hidden Fates was doing something that was so different from what we've seen with a lot of these sealed products and cards that just kind of blew up in price because demand was so high when all these new people kind of came into the hobby that they felt they needed to do something to really slow the tide when it came to Hidden Fates. When you had a set that was only a year or two old and ETBs were selling for around $300, Pokemon was like, we need to step in and make sure that this set doesn't explode in price where you have a $1,000 Elite Trainer box, and they did just that. They stepped in, they had a massive reprint, and the prices crashed. Now they are still down, heading in the wrong direction, but very slowly starting to climb in certain areas, and it's just a very slow, methodical, steady climb, and that's okay. But I do think that people are going to enjoy opening Hidden Fates for a very, very long time. It's a really, really fun set to open, really cool cards that are in here, and it really kind of introduced us to Shinies in the TCG, which I think a lot of people appreciated. It's got those OG cards. Let me know what you think in the comments section down below. I really appreciate your guys' feedback and your time. If you could hit that like button down below and leave a comment, because it does go a long way for the algorithm. But most importantly, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It means the world to me. Thank you so much for everything, guys. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Peace.